Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It is Mike here once again, and today I am bringing you my August wrap up. So quite a pleasant month of reading. The first book that I read, I finished reading the Thorn, Ogres of Hagwood by Jarvis. I'll link my video to my sort of assessment review of the first 100 pages below. I did enjoy this book. It isn't my favourite Jarvis book, okay? I'm going to put that out there. Purely, I think, down to age. I think this is written for a bit younger kids. I don't know if you can hear that. My neighbour's mowing his lawn and I don't know what's happening. He's like going over rocks or something and it is making a racket. How rude. Does he not know I'm trying to film my YouTube videos? Oh well. So yeah, this is not my favourite Jarvis book. I did actually really enjoy it. The ideas behind this book were really cool, which is what's going to push me through reading the second and third of the trilogy. But this one is about a young little whirling called, oh no, the names have gone from my mind. See, why don't I look these things up before I start filming and not look like a numpty? Gammy. I'm just going to call him Gammy because I can't pronounce his proper name. So this is about Gammy. He's a little whirling and he's learning to wurgle. So whirlings are little creatures that live inside the trees and they have the power, well, they have the ability to learn to mimic other animals and transform into other animals, and that's what wurgling is. So Gammy the whirling starts learning how to wurgle, and that's what this book is kind of about. He starts learning, making friends. He's not very good at it, but there's a lot of kind of like, this is very fairy tale, very kind of Brothers Grimm. There's kind of Mabinogion Celtic fantasy stuff going on in here, which all is good and does sound good. It's just that I thought this short little book would take me a week to get through because it'd be a nice quick read for me and I'm done, and it was just a nice little bookend to the month of reading last month, and I had to push myself through it. And I think sometimes books come to your life at the right time, and I just don't know whether this one was the right time for me for this book. I liked it, and I liked the adventure. I really liked the little quaint Britishness of it, and how these little creatures are hidden from the rest of the world and everyone's forgotten about them, kind of like hobbits, and they don't really care much for them, and they're the most unlikely of heroes, and they get thrown into this adventure where they have to be heroic. So it's got all that going for it, and I did like that aspect, and the creatures that they meet. And there's a dwarf who he's good with metalwork and he's cool, and there's an evil queen, and there's a lot of good stuff in it. It's just, for me, the timing perhaps wasn't right with this book. I'm not sure whether I would read it again now, but I think if you're looking for a book for youngsters to get into reading, this is quite short. It's got quite a good adventure, it's got a good message, there's a good fantastical element, mythology behind it all, so I would recommend it. It just didn't tick all of my boxes, that's all. So yeah, but good book. That was the first book I read. It was short. I did finally finish it in August. And then the second book that I read was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So this is my 20th anniversary version, lovely sprayed edge, beautiful copper on the front cover. I didn't read it, I listened to it on Audible, but I thought I'd just show you this glorious book as I have it to hand. I listened to it on Audible. I'll try and put the picture up here as I've been trying to do, being clever with my videos. And I really enjoyed my experience of the Chamber of Secrets, equally as I did in the Philosopher's Stone. So I've just discovered Audible, and I really, what did I enjoy? I think that Stephen Fry gets some of the voices and characters just spot on. You know, in the first book it was Hagrid for me. He was just brilliant the way he does Hagrid, and he continues to do Hagrid through this one as well, Brill. But actually, his version of Gilderoy Lockhart was perfect. And I think the Chamber of Secrets... So I've done the Harry Potter tag a long time ago when I first started doing YouTube. I say a long time ago, like... not even a year ago, but it was when I first started, so I was a bit uncomfortable. I'm getting a bit more comfortable doing these things. But I done that, and in that tag you have to kind of rate the books in best to kind of least favourite, and by default The Chamber of Secrets was my least favourite book. But every time I have read it, I have enjoyed it more. And I think actually it's possibly one of the most underrated Harry Potter novels. For me, the series gets really, really good and gripped me from book 4, The Goblet of Fire. And that's the one I'm always drawn to, and I always talk about it because it's a real kind of... There's a real conspiracy around Harry and a plot around him to get him. And I think that actually there's a significant plot surrounding Harry in this one as well. I really enjoyed Lockhart. I enjoyed what he brought to the book. I enjoyed his character. I enjoyed the silliness of him. And I enjoyed the Valentine's Day... what is it, like he gets like little dwarves to go around like dressed as Cupid, and I thought that was brilliant, and what a missed opportunity from the film, genuinely. I think that what maybe has turned people off the Chamber of Secrets, because I think that's a kind of general, it's a generalisation, but I think a lot of the stuff I've seen on Instagram and YouTube and stuff is that the Chamber of Secrets isn't their favourite. I think perhaps the film of the Chamber of Secrets is what has tarred people's opinions of the actual story, because the book I really enjoyed. I love the flying car. Dobby is really irritating in the book, but he is irritating. He's high-pitched and squealy and odd, and it's a bit strange, and you learn to like Dobby as he goes through the series. As his first appearance, he's supposed to be annoying, and Stephen Fry really does get that right. His version is annoying as it's supposed to be. I liked everything. I like Madam Sprout. It was a really, really good experience. It was really good to experience the novel on Audible. I think that these Audible books are really a whole other level. Sometimes I kind of wish I was reading it in book form, because I read faster than Stephen Fry speaks. And I know you can increase the speed on Audible, but it does like sound a bit odd that it's going quicker than he's actually reading it. So I've left it at his reading pace, which is right. But I sometimes wish I had it in my hands. I was seeing the words, because I don't know, there's something about seeing the words and imagining it yourself this way. It's being told to you. You're at the mercy of somebody else. And while that is lovely, it does have something. There's something in me that also wants it in my hand. So what I've done so far, because I've been looking at the illustrated versions of the book after I've listened to them. So I've listened to the audiobook as a whole, and I've gone back and looked at Jim Kay's beautiful illustrations of the book and his interpretation, and they add something else as well. It's fantastic that this world, I think that it's so easy to put the films on, it really is. It's easy to read them too and listen to them, but it's just lovely that Stephen Fry's input brings a whole other version of the stories to you, as the films bring a version to you, and then Jim Kay's illustrations bring a version to you, and you've got your version in your head, and all of them add to each other and just complement each other. And I just love this experience. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I listened to Chamber of Secrets. It's going up in my estimations as a really good book every time I read it or listen to it, or I not really watch it. I don't watch that film. I mean, nothing against the performances or anything, because I think the actors did really well, and I think that even Kenneth Branagh's Gilderoy Lockhart is fab. He is just how he is in the book. I just think perhaps they should have maybe moved on from Christopher Columbus and offered us a different take, because when you get to the Prisoner of Azkaban in the films, it's so different that it was a welcomed change. And I think they continued to change that a little bit each time, and that was good. I think they should have been brave and started changing sooner. Just my opinion. But the book, as far as the book is concerned, I really enjoyed it, and I laughed out loud, and some of the things that I just thought the experience through Stephen Fry was brilliant, and I would highly recommend those. I've waffled on about Harry Potter too much now, I went on a tangent, I'm sorry guys. And then the third book I physically read in August is this beast of a book by Jo Nesbo, The Thirst. This is the 11th Harry Hole thriller. I loved it. I couldn't put it down. It was so brilliant. So it's about, I'll link below the video of my first 100 pages review of this as well. It's about a serial killer in Oslo who is killing women after going on a date with them, that they find each other on Tinder and they go on a date, and this guy, he kills them with a device. It's horrible, but they are iron fangs that he puts in his mouth, and they are hinged, and he bites their neck as a vampire would, and is actually drinking some of their blood as well. And it's follows Harry, who has since retired from the police, but he is lured back to investigate these killings by the serial killer. And I genuinely don't want to say too much more about this book to you here, because I just loved it so much. I gave this book 5 stars on Goodreads, and I don't think I've done that yet, or maybe I have once, but this was brilliant. It kept me gripped. There are twists. The revelations and twists are actually really, really clever, thought out, and I didn't see them coming. I thought they were fab. I really enjoyed how it was written. It's from different characters' perspectives in different places, which was a welcome change after reading quite a lot of YA. This is much more adult. There is swearing, there is rudeness, and vicious killing. If you like a thriller or a crime novel and you haven't read a Harry Hole book, I know it might sound mad to recommend the most recent one, but I cannot recommend this book enough. The only thing I would say about recommending this book as a first Harry Hole read, it does involve some characters from previous books, quite significantly. I read it, I haven't read the other books, I've only read one, I've only read The Snowman. It didn't hinder me at all, but I think I did sometimes wish I had the whole picture. So I am thirsty now for more Harry Hole. The next Harry Hole book is out next June or July, apparently, and I am counting down the days to it, but I have got time to read some more in between, so I'm going to go back and read some more. It just came to me at the right time as well. I had had enough of YA for a little bit, and I wanted something dark, disturbing, and I love a crime at 9, you know me, and it's Beast. But I just read it so quickly, and every day I was telling Jess at work what was happening in it and what would happen next, and even she was riveted, and it's quite scary in bits. I was reading it on my lunch at work, and there was one particular scene, and I won't go into too much detail, but there's a scene where the detectives are in the dark and they're walking up the stairs of an apartment building on the hunt for they've been given a tip-off, and they hear this ticking and they think that there's a bomb or something, and they ascend in the stairs, and it's really creepy, and then they realise that it's not a ticking, it's a dripping, and they look up, and I'm not going to tell you what they saw because it was disgusting, and some of the descriptions in this book are genuinely disgusting, but in a really, really good way, and it just was brill. Oh, I just cannot recommend this book enough. I know it's long, but it's completely worth it. It would make such a good TV show, and I say TV show rather than film because I think you need the time to build the tension up for books like this. I think you should like The Fall, like Luther, just any kind of crime thriller. You need the time to develop the characters and have different deaths, and there were just more deaths, and there were some deaths in this book, and I was really angry and frustrated that those people died. I wasn't impressed because I liked them, and it happened, it was real, so that's got to be good. So cannot recommend this enough. Brilliant crime thriller. And that is the end of my wrap up for August. I am faced with a slight dilemma right now because I love The Thirst so much that I don't know what book to start next. I have started 3 different books since reading The Thirst, and I've read the first couple of chapters of each and have not been feeling any of them. So I've got the curse now of the brilliant book and what to read next. I tried to read something in a completely different genre, hoping that would overcome the curse. It did not. I tried something else. Well, I'm listening to an Audible book, and I got the third other option is I'm reading another kind of thriller, but it's not too crimey, like detective. And so far that has got me intrigued, so I'm going to continue with that for a bit and see if it kind of holds my attention for long enough. I hate that. Does this happen to anybody else? Do you read a really good book and then get stuck and cannot stop thinking about it, so you can't move on to the next one? Happens to me. Not very regularly, but it does happen to me, and it's happened now. But never mind, we're going to get there. So that's the end of my wrap up for August, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.